Top stories tonight. United Arab Emirates yet to lift ban on visa services for Nigerians. Nigeria sets up 6th zonal hearing over review of new minimum wage. Family, friends, associates celebrate memory of Herbert Wigwe's wife and son. 2 killed as planes collide in Kenya. Thank you for joining us. I am Dakpo Adigboye. Let's begin by telling you that the United Arab Emirates is yet to resume visa services for Nigerian citizens wishing to visit the country. Now, several news outlets had reported that the UAE on March 4th lifted the visa restriction on Nigerian travelers. But Bayo Onanuga, special advisor to the president on information and strategy, refuted the viral document in an update on his X page. In October 2022, the UAE implemented a ban on citizens from approximately 20 African nations from entering its borders. Among the affected countries are Nigeria, Uganda, Ghana, Sierra Leone, Sudan, Cameroon, Liberia, Burundi, Republic of Guinea, Gambia, Togo, Democratic Republic of Congo, Senegal, Benin, Ivory Coast, Congo, Rwanda, Burkina Faso, Guinea Bissau, Comoros, and the Dominican Republic. The federal government of Nigeria set up a zonal public hearing across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country for the review of the national minimum wage. The hearings are scheduled to hold in the Northeast, Yola, Northwest, Kano, North Central, Abuja, South-South, Uyo, Southeast, Enugu, and Southwest, Lagos. The Southwest Zonal Public Hearing is to be chaired by the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun. A statement issued by the Head Press and Public Relations Unit of the Ministry of Finance said the Southwest Zonal Public Hearing will be held at the LTV Blue Roof Arena, Agidingbi, Keja, Lagos on March 7, 2024. According to the statement, the session aims to gather insights and recommendations to inform a fair and sustainable minimum wage policy, reflecting the engagement and contributions from various stakeholders in the region. The Nigerian Customs Service says it has commenced the sale of about 120 arrested trucks of smuggled food items to citizens in need. The Comptroller General of the service made this known during an engagement with relevant stakeholders and lawmakers in the nation's agriculture, saying that it is acting under a directive from President Bola Tinubu. Now, News Central's Joseph Idang tells us more.
The legislative business of the day commenced with the House first considering petitions laid before it and motions of urgent national importance. Then followed the entrance of relevant stakeholders in Nigeria's agricultural sector for a third dialogue on food production and resolving the nation's hunger crisis.
Collective effort must focus on addressing both demand and supply factors along with the persistent challenge of food price inflation. Through thorough analysis, I have identified 4 critical levers for improving food security.
Nigeria's Minister of Agriculture says that the present food scarcity is as a result of insecurity, the COVID-19 pandemic, smuggling of foodstuff out of the country, and the Naira redesign policy of the last administration.
There are other issues that have affected agriculture. Case in point, COVID in 2020 had a great impact worldwide, not only to Nigeria. We also, in 2022, I would like to downplay that, but it was a fact that the policy of the Naira redesign had an impact on the local rural farmer who didn't have access to cash.
Also, the Comptroller General of Nigeria's Customs Service informed lawmakers of the service resolve to stop smuggling of foodstuff out of the country. He says that foodstuff confiscated from arrested trucks are now being diverted to local markets and sold to vulnerable persons at reduced prices,
which has resulted in the seizure of over 120 trucks across different border stations and border areas in the country. President Bola Tinubu has directed that we should dispose of this item through direct sales to vulnerable Nigerians. We have kicked off this exercise in some parts of the country, and we believe that very soon we will get to other parts.
Lawmakers urged all present to continue to put in their best to cushion the effects of the scarcity on citizens. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idonk Joseph.
Residents of Maiduguri are facing double setback of scorching heat wave with widespread power outage that have seen many areas experience total darkness for days. These concerns have led to an outcry from the relevant authorities by residents battling with the double tragedy. Now, News Central's Maru Kirawa assesses the situation and now reports.
The Maiduguri Emergency Power Project, a gas plant, has been the major source of power in the city, which was largely seen as a relief to all. This was as a result of persistent breaking down of the sources of electric power by insurgents. It is 5 days now, and public electric has not blinked. This is raising a lot of questions on the lips of many residents. University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital is one major area of concern to the citizens.
In the past, University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital was the pace setter in health services, in healthcare development services delivery. So I don't know over the years what happened to the University of Maiduguri that the services are deteriorating. Only recently, fees were raised, the rates were raised, far skyrocketed far above the means of those who rush to the hospital to obtain healthcare services from all directions. Coupled with the fact that, just consider the economic situation of the country.
While it is commendable to witness the improvement in the over 1,000 bed capacity hospital facility with different centers dedicated for different ailments, questions about the sudden change in the cost of their services remains a cause for concern.
What is happening now, when you go there now, there's no light, and many patients are crying, and some people are without their patients to another state hospital. All we know that we are appealing to federal government, let them do something on them. Because many of them are suffer. So we are appealing to federal government, let them do better thing for them.
All these utilities, electricity, water, they are not supposed to be in short supply. The teaching hospital must not, for less than a minute, have any power failure. Must not. A teaching hospital of this standing.
This video showed how the hospital is battling with the power outage, which requires swift response. I tried to reach the chief medical director of the hospital, but he was said not to be on seat. Perhaps the complaint of lack of adequate funding by the CMD during the 40th anniversary of the hospital months ago might be the cause of the ugly situation in the hospital.
NEPA have increased their tariffs. Sometimes our NEPA bill in a month will reach like 39 million. And our IGR, the whole of it is no more than 40 million. So we don't have money to buy any other. So funding, power, we all know the importance. The generators, we all know the 2 years that we went through without electricity in Maiduguri. We were spending virtually 60, 70 million in a month for 10-hour electricity. So funding is the major thing. I think governments should look at really the effect of the fuel subsidy. I think some of it can be also, the reliefs can go to it.
The residents of Maiduguri, however, hope that their concerns will be addressed promptly by the government so that normalcy can be restored with effective health care for citizens. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umoru Kirawa.
You're watching tonight. Coming up, family, friends, associates celebrate memory of Herbert Wigwe's wife and son. We have details after this break. If you have just joined us, you're watching tonight. A reminder of our top stories. United Arab Emirates yet to lift ban on visa services for Nigerians. Nigeria sets up 6 zonal hearings over review of new minimum wage. Friends, family, associates celebrate memory of Herbert Wigwe's wife and son. Of course, let's remind you, and of course, Now, still on the news at this time, we of course move to other stories where we understand that President Tinubu, on his trip to Qatar, expects to remain high as the President Bola Ahmed returns. Now, a recent visit by Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to Qatar has brought much expected expectations from the Nigerian business community. While Nigerians and Qatar have had their own fair share of trade in the last few years, citizens will be hoping that President Tinubu's visit will yield inflows of direct foreign investment to the country. Now, News Central's Amadou Uyi gives us an overview of events that played out in the Gulf state of Qatar.
What was my responsibility this afternoon is to tell you, the Qataris, that Nigerians are your friends, open for business, open for honest partnership.
A loud and bold statement from Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu during his recent visit to the Gulf state of Qatar. With Qatar having the 4th highest gross domestic product per capita in the world, ranking 47 in the Human Development Index worldwide, and taking the number 3 spot in the Arab world, Qatar can be regarded as a major economic power in the Middle East. Thus, the visit by Nigeria's president to Qatar came with much expectations. Qatar is rated as a high-income economy. It has the 3rd largest reserves of oil and gas in the world. It is also the largest exporter of liquefied natural gas in the world. The presidential team started with a business forum. We saw the signing of historic agreements between both nations.
The business forum, as you know, is quite significant because it's not just to introduce the businessmen, but it's for us to forge relationships and partnerships for investment opportunities, for progress, for cooperation, for cultural interchange, and for every other thing that makes us human.
Economic relations motivate mutual investment so as to benefit us all and achieves the aspirations of both friendly countries of development and prosperity. This is an important platform to discuss various economic areas of common interest and to review the different capabilities and different trade, investment, and economic sectors in both Qatari and Nigerian markets, as well as supporting and encouraging the business sector in both countries to develop and diversify partnerships and open new horizons of cooperation to support development efforts.
The president also during a bilateral meeting assured the business community in Qatar that Nigeria remains the go-to investment destination.
To assure you that the country as a whole, of over 240 million people, is ready and anxious to welcome you and your investment with open arms and open mind, to assure you that your investment is safe in our hands.
With Nigeria and Qatar having its own fair share of trade in the last few years, it is hoped that the agreements reached will herald a new era of cooperation by both countries, creating business opportunities for citizens. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadou Uyi.
Now joining me to unpack this is public affairs analyst Jide Ojo. Jide Ojo, thank you for your time. And of course, let's start off with your immediate reactions to the president's trip to Qatar. Would you say at this time it's pretty much relevant or not?
It's relevant to the extent that we are looking for foreign direct investment, and this is a golden opportunity that should be taken. Remember that the president's visit was on the invitation of the Emir of Qatar. So it wasn't like we are Medicine Mintalopa or Nusipoka. It was based on the invitation by the Qatari government. So, and, Nigeria is in that need of foreign direct investment. We need this FDI for purposes of employment opportunities, enhancing our revenue, as well as even reducing poverty. And it's heartwarming that about 7 agreements were reported to have been signed. And, Amadou actually gave a very good background to this discussion. So it shows that we stand to gain a lot if this agreement signed if they are implemented. In time past, what has happened is that many of these agreements, after the initial publicity blitz, never gets to be implemented. But I hope this will be seen through to its logical conclusion.
I mean, talking about agreements, about 7 landmark agreements were signed. It borders around education, employment, commerce, sports, agriculture, and of course, combating narcotics trade, illicit narcotics trade. And of course, my question to you is this: how much of this do you think, or how much of an impact do you think this will have on Nigeria's economic growth? And of course, when it comes to investment potential too?
A lot. Like I said in my just a short while ago, if this is followed through to its logical conclusion, it has the potential to improve our revenue, to improve our trade relationship, to improve our diplomatic relationship with Qatar, to improve our trade and investment opportunities with the country. And, as the president has said, the Minister of Finance needs to follow through with this signed agreement. That's Mr. Wale has been mandated to follow through with the implementation of these agreements. And I do hope that this is done in due course.
Now, let's talk about some, what I call it, naughty areas that Nigerians have actually reacted to. Part of it has to do with the names on the list of the entourage of the president, where questions have been asked as regards certain names identified, on that list. And that has to do with the sons of the president. Given the fact that, the talk about the Onronso report, which talks about cutting the cost of governance, and of course, follow-ups that we are beginning to see, agencies being merged, some scrapped and all of that, all in a bid to cut, the cost of governance. And then this coming up, I'd like to know your reaction to it.
I worry about the non-state actors getting involved in the governance process of this country. And I've read the reaction of the presidency, one of the media aides of the president defending the fact that it's not peculiar to Nigeria for the president the first family to go with their father on state visits. They cited the examples of Canada, of US, of UK, and all of those places. But these are not Nigeria. Seyi Tinubu, Yinka Tinubu, Shadi Tinubu are all adults. And if they want to visit Dubai or Qatar, they can spend their own personal resources to go. I think the president is making a mistake by allowing his children to be on state visit. If it's a family vacation, yes, of course, it's a vacation, so he could pack all members of his household on such vacation. But this is a state official visit. I even learned that protocol was breached, in which case the children of the president were even recognized ahead of ministers. And you ask yourself, what is the status of the children of the president. What role did they, what official function did they perform in Qatar? Recently, sometime last year, the president had to specifically instruct the security agents to bar Sheyi from coming into the fake meetings. It shows the audacity of this young man. Why would your father, because he's a president, you walk in to attend state visits, state meetings? For what end? To what end? I think the president needs to backtrack on, taking his children on state visits. It's a wrong optics. And aside from that, we also read that unlike the January
Gido, I'm sorry, I might just need to cut
where the
in here.
president said
for time.
his entourage will not be more than 20. We had about well over 40 people going to Qatar. That is not in line with the president's commitments in January. So it then shows that there is a bad faith in implementing the Orosaye report, because if you want to merge and reduce the number of civil servants, why can't you cut down extensively on your travel costs or your official travel entourage? Because that's where the bulk of the resources go in funding these people, because all of them that are on that visit are going to collect testicles in dollars.
All right, Gido, thank you so much. We are pressed for time, but we deeply appreciate your contribution on the news at this time. Gido Joe, Public Affairs Analyst, once again, thank you. Now, let's take you back to the story we read earlier, in the bulletin, where we told you that the federal government of Nigeria set up zonal public hearings across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country for the review of the national minimum wage. Now, the hearing is scheduled to hold in the Northeast Yola State, Northwest Kano, North Central Abuja, South Uyo, and Southeast Enugu, and Southwest. Also, we have Lagos there. Now, to make sense of this, I am joined by political analyst Bayo Onanuga to, of course, unpack this. Thank you for your time. Let me start off with this. What is your reaction to this particular move of the federal government? Some would say it's a wide consultation. Do you think this is actually in order?
Well, I will say the government probably wants to show the public that they actually are listening, but I do not believe that having such public hearings will negate the input of the NLC. You are talking about what you're to pay the workers. It's not what you're to pay the public. No. The public know that there is hardship. The people you are to negotiate with is the NLC. Talk to the workers. In the public hearing is for you to listen to workers from across the country, because those are the people you'll be paying salary. You're not going to be paying salary to members of the public. No. So I really do not know where they're going to, but I believe the public hearings are simply for show. At the end of the day, the people that the government should be talking to is the Nigerian Labour Congress, because these are the people with the membership to be paid the salaries, not members of the public.
But you would also agree that there has been meetings between the NLC and the federal government. Maybe this time around, the government felt it needs to take a different route to communicate directly with the people. My question to you is this. Don't you think that move to some extent, might just give the required, well, I call it feedback or necessary feedback that the federal government needs? And also, do you think to a large extent the NLC is a true representation of the yearnings of the people, particularly workers?
The government does have its ways to find out about the high cost in the markets. If you're thinking about looking at the median cost, if you're looking at the expensive incomes available to the average Nigerian, but you are talking now about money to be paid to those who work for government, and members who work for government or the public are organizing the NLC. So it is the NLC that will tell you what its members believe It's the right salary to be paid them. If you want to gauge the public mood in regards to the sufferings in the land, it's very easy. The government can find out the average cost of things and check the multiple increases in terms of the inflation that we've had in the country. That's a very easy thing to get to. If you don't think you believe the members of the NLC when they tell you about the increases in cost of things, and so you want to now talk to members of the public for you to actually gauge the true level of hardship in public space, that's a different thing. But at the end of the day, the people you will need to speak to are members of the Nigerian Labour Congress. So if they are doing public hearing, it could only be to simply gauge how true the suffering is, how truthful it is that the cost of things have gone up. They will hear that in the public hearing. But the people they need to pay are those who work for them. And those people that work for the government are organized in the NLC. So the public hearing, if I believe those are things that you want to talk to the general population, they will still tell you, pay the workers a living wage. So I don't see any real grounds for them to go to the public, but then the government has its ways. They probably want to just show that they are listening to the public, but let the workers get properly paid. And I think now that you look at the multiple increases, and the government was saying the previous minimum wage was 30,000. It was 30,000 when everything that we had was based on how much? Maybe $150, 150 naira to the dollar, or 200 naira to the dollar. Now that is gone to 1,600, 1,500 to the dollar, because everything that we consume in Nigeria are imported. You probably need to find a way for the government to actually adjust its new costs in regards to the new inflation in the land. So I believe the government knows what to do when they want to find the real cost of things in the market.
All right, Bayo Onanuga, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Now, emotions were high as family, friends, and associates gathered to celebrate the life of Chizoba and Chizi Wigwe, the wife and son of the late Group Managing Director of Access Holdings, Herbert Wigwe. The event took place at the Eco Hotel in Lagos, southwest Nigeria. Amongst the dignitaries present were Jimmy Odukoya, Senior Pastor, Fountain of Life Church, Arton Adams, Senior Director, Africa Finance Corporation. Chizoba, alongside her husband and son, died in a helicopter crash on February 9, 2024 in the United States on his way to attend the Super Bowl 58 championship in Las Vegas.
I never thought I would compete with the Lord and that he would go home before all of us. So in my time, the struggle was not when he will leave the AFC team, but how long we can keep him. And I would even gesture to him, you know, you're not ready to go to your dad yet. Watochi is there, so don't worry. And that was a selfish motive.
How great a light he was, and hopefully his life inspires us to want to do better. I'm reminded of a saying. It says, when you are born, you cry, while everybody else rejoices. Live your life in such a way that when you die, you rejoice while everyone cries. One thing is certain, life is short, death is certain, and heaven is for real. What would we do with the time that we have left?
You're watching Tonight, still ahead. Now, 2 killed as planes collide in Kenya. We have details of this and more after now. The news continues in West Africa, where Ghana's President Nana Akufo-Addo has said he will not decide whether to sign a controversial anti-LGBTQ bill into law until the Supreme Court rules on a legal challenge. Last week, lawmakers approved a bill which seeks to severely curtail LGBTQ rights, drawing condemnations from rights activists despite gaining wild support in conservative West African state. Now, the proposed legislation stipulates jail terms of 6 months to 3 years for engaging in such sexual acts and sentences of between 3 to 5 years for promoting or sponsoring such activities. Now, the passing of the bill sparked criticism from several countries, including the United States, as well as concern from Ghana's finance ministry, which warned that the financially strapped country could lose billions of dollars in World Bank funding.
I cannot find an example in history.
In East Africa, a student pilot and instructor died on Tuesday when their aircraft collided with a passenger plane over the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. The mid-air incident between local carrier Safari Link and the 1990 flying training school occurred Tuesday morning. Nairobi Police Adamson Bangui confirmed the deaths. An earlier police report said the passenger plane requested to turn back for landing after the collision. Safari Link said in a statement that the plane, with 44 persons on board, was heading for Diani along the Kenyan coast when it experienced a loud bang soon after takeoff. The Kenyan Civil Aviation Authority said investigation had started to establish the cause of the accident. Let's join our business desk.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
Talking business tonight, Binance, a prominent global cryptocurrency exchange, has announced the discontinuation of all Nigerian Naira services in response to increased regulatory scrutiny in Nigeria. The exchange has faced heightened pressure due to legal challenges from Nigerian regulatory authorities, prompting the decision to cease certain services amid concerns about currency manipulation. The announcement has sparked significant interest within Nigeria's crypto community as the industry anticipates potential repercussions. Binance has advised its users to withdraw, trade, or convert Nigerian assets before the cessation of Nigerian-related services on March 8. Now, Africa's richest individual, Aliko Dangote, is reportedly considering establishing an oil trading division, potentially based in London, to oversee the supply of crude and products for its new refinery in Nigeria. This move is expected to reduce the involvement of major trading firms, which have been negotiating to provide financing on crude oil in exchange for product exports from the 650,000 barrel per day refinery. The refinery's operations are closely watched by the trading community due to its potential to reshape global oil and fuel flows. Dangote, valued at $12.7 billion by Forbes, has been in discussions with BP, Transfigura, Vitol, and others to secure loans for the approximately $3 billion working capital needed for crude purchases. To Southern Africa, we tell you that South Africa's economy avoided a technical recession in the fourth quarter as reduced rotational power cuts facilitated a rebound in energy-intensive sectors such as mining and manufacturing. According to Statistics South Africa, gross domestic product expanded by 0.1% in the 3 months through December, following a 0.2% contraction in the previous quarter. This figure fell short of the 0.2% median estimate of 12 economists in the Bloomberg survey. The full-year growth was 0.6%, down from 1.9% in 2022. Other sectors contributing to fourth-quarter growth included finance and transportation. Last year's lackluster economic performance was impacted by logistical challenges at state-owned ports, including rail operator Transnet, as well as ongoing power cuts, which are expected to continue affecting economic growth in the near term. Finally, Ivory Coast's cocoa grind declined by 3.6% year-on-year to 63,380 metric tons in January. This is according to data from the Exporters Association, GPEX. By the end of January, the total grind for the 2023-2024 season starting in October reached 233,333 tons, reflecting a 2.1% decrease compared to the same period in the previous season. The GPEX data encompasses 6 major grinding companies, including Barry Callebaut, Olam International, and Cargill Incorporated. With a total grinding capacity of 712,000 tons, Ivory Coast, the world's top cocoa producer, competes with the Netherlands for the title of leading grinder. And that's all on Business Stories. Do stay with us. More stories will come your way on the news. I am Leone Onabanjo.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
Up next is sports and entertainment.
Sports Update, brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile.
In the world of sport, we begin with updates from the African Games ongoing in Accra, Ghana, as Edem Offiong has picked the first medal at the African Games for Nigeria, picking the bronze medal in the women's table tennis singles. At the International Conference Center, the Spanish-based star played her best matches in the last 16 and the quarterfinals when she defeated Egypt's at her derby twins, Marwar and Miriam, respectively. However, facing defending champion Dina Meshref of Egypt in the semi-final, Edem caved into the 4-0 defeat to settle for the bronze medal, just like she did in 2019 edition in Rabat, Morocco. Meshref will face compatriot Hannah Goder, who has finished with the gold medal after defeating her compatriot Dina Meshref at the competition. Meanwhile, Aruna Quadri fell to Egypt's Omar Assar in the men's singles final, settling for the silver medal. Moving away from that, Cyprus First Division club Omonia Nicosia has ended the association with former Golden Eagles winger Akinkumi Amo. The decision to terminate the contract early was reached naturally due to the personal reasons coming from the player. Akinkumi Amo joined the league champions in September 2023, signing a 3-year contract. During his time at Omonia Nicosia, he made 6 appearances but failed to score a goal. Prior to joining Omonia, Amo played in the Sweden capital and also in FC Copenhagen in Denmark. He represented Nigeria at the FIFA Under-17 World Cup in Tanzania in 2019 and also featured in the World Cup held in Brazil later that year. The quarterfinal draw for the 2023-2024 CAF Champions League and CAF Confederation Cup will be conducted on Tuesday, 12 March 2024. The draw will be conducted in Cairo, Egypt, starting with the CAF Confederation Cup and then the CAF Champions League. The teams will participate in the quarterfinal of the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederation Cup, emerged following the conclusion of the group stages over the weekend. And now to athletics, where Kenyan athletes refused to participate in the national trials ahead of the All-African Games in Ghana. The national trials were scheduled for March 5 to select a team that will represent the country at the 13th edition of the multi-sport event. The athletes turned up at the Nyayo National Stadium only to be informed by the National Sport Council of Kenya that only one qualification sport will be available per category for various disciplines. The decision angered the athletes, who resorted to protesting in the field. 800 meters world champion Mary Moraa led the athletes in criticizing the decision and calling out the Kenyan government. Now, ahead of the highly anticipated bouts between British boxer Anthony Joshua and Cameroon-French MMA fighter Francis Ngannou, they both hosted an open walkout today. The pair square off in a 10-round heavyweight bout at the Kingdom Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia on Saturday, March 9. Ngannou has proven a whole lot of people wrong with his venture into the sport of boxing following a departure from the UFC in early 2023. After subsequently signing for the PFL, under the banner of which he has the freedom to box, the Predator, as he's formally called, entered the ring for the first time in October. Having performed above expectation on his debut, Ngonu is looking to go a step further by having his hand raised. In this way, however, is former two-time unified champion Anthony Joshua for that heavyweight bout for Saturday, March 9, 2024. And that's it in the world of sport. I am Onyinyechi Obaru. Back to you for the entertainment news.
Sports Update, brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile. Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
Nigerian music sensation, our star, is poised to make her mark on the international stage. Joining Chris Brown's highly anticipated 11/11 tour, the talented artist, signed to Marvin's record, is scheduled to grace the first 8 stops, including major cities like Chicago, Detroit, and Montreal. This pivotal opportunity underscores our star's escalating prominence in the global music landscape, as she steps into a prestigious touring role previously occupied by Davido. Despite lacking prior collaborations with Chris Brown, her inclusion signifies a significant stride in her career trajectory. Now, moving on from that, Nigerian Afrobeat artist Portable achieves his first UK chart entry with Tony Montana just days after its release. The hit song featuring Skepta and J5 debuted at number 95 as confirmed on the website of Spotify. This accomplishment follows Tony Montana's reign at number 1 on the Spotify Nigeria's charts, showcasing its appeal both locally and internationally. Portable's growing global presence is underscored by his stipulation for higher feature cost, signaling his increasing stature in the industry. His international success serves as a beacon of inspiration for emerging African artists pursuing unconventional paths. That's all we can take on entertainment news tonight. When we're back, we'll bring you the updates on what's trending tonight.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
Thank you for staying with us. Moving on from entertainment stories, trending today across social media platform is Mile 2. In Mile 2, Lagos today, reports emerged of a woman allegedly subjected to harassment and extortion by Nigerian police officers. According to her account, in a viral video, she was accused of carrying post pills in her bag, then coerced into their vehicle alongside others labeled as criminals. Threats to involve her parents ensued, leading to a resolution where she was allowed to leave after paying 500,000 naira. This disturbing incident further resonates with numerous Nigerians who have faced similar mistreatments at the hands of law enforcement agencies. Concerned Nigerians have taken to X to voice their grievances. Let's hear what some of them had to say. Eniola is saying, so they searched her bag without a warrant and still threatens to call her parents. If she doesn't settle them, are these people they call our friends? Police is your friend indeed. Another tweet is saying they should trace where the money was transferred to and do the needful by investigating the issue. Imagine people that are meant to protect people and their properties are the ones trying to take it wrongly from them. At least try to make your research well before you accuse someone. I laugh most times when I hear people saying that police is your friend. Currently, the Nigerian police have not issued a response regarding this incident. And then on social media, many people continue to stress the significance of understanding and asserting one's rights, particularly in such circumstances. Meanwhile, some are challenging the notion and the phrase that says, police is your friend, asserting it to be a mere illusion. That's all we can take tonight on what's trending. But you can join the conversation and share your thoughts across our social media platforms. We are at News Central TV. I'm Jadel Simon.
And of course, interesting times and interesting stories to Jadel and Onyinye. But I would like to just briefly ask, to you, Onyinye, have you ever, picking from the trending stories that Jadel, of course, told us tonight, had such or similar experience with the Nigerian police?
Yes, I have. It's a great thing I'm a journalist and I know my rights. And I know for sure that a policeman, a force man, is not supposed to search unless he's got a warrant to search. Thank God for social media. It's great that she has that on tape, because if we do not have something like that on tape, the policeman who has done this will not be brought to book. I'm waiting for the response of the Nigerian police to know what will be done, their reaction after they get whoever has done this to the lady.
All right, thank you so much. And of course, we are anticipating a response from the Nigerian police force as regards this. But thank you once again.
You're welcome.
And that's a wrap tonight on the news. But before we go, let's take a look at some of our top stories. We told you that United Arab Emirates is yet to lift ban on visa services for Nigerians. We also told you that Nigeria set up 6 zonal hearings over review of new minimum wage. Friends, family, associates have celebrated the memory of Herbert Wigwe's wife and son. 2 people have been killed as planes collided in Kenya. Don't forget to send in your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. You can also follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch us live across these platforms: DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Dakbo Adigboye. Good night.